Why should someone else get to decide whether you live in pain or choose to die? After my speech, my audience will be aware of why euthanasia would benefit families. The government should legalize euthanasia because it is a person's right if they want to live or not. After some researching, I believe euthanasia or assisted suicide would give patients the right to choose to live or die, free terminally ill patients from pain, and it would minimize expensive medical bills. A patient should be able to decide whether they want to suffer through the pain or have the choice to die. Euthanasia-assisted suicide is a painless killing of patients suffering from incurable and painful diseases and irreversible comas. Patients have the right to decide to live, and so the patients should have the right to die as well. Ali Hassan talks about the quality and sanctity of life and wrote in an article, most supporters of euthanasia maintain that they believe in the basic sanctity and dignity of life, but argue that ending the suffering of terminally ill patients at their request is actually a move which respects sanctity of life. I agree that euthanasia does not hurt anybody and that the patient gets to choose whether they want the procedure or not, and it protects the dignity of their life. When death comes up fast, everybody wants to be independent and make the final call. The authors of what people close to death say about euthanasia and assisted suicide, they have confession stories of patients who have terminal illnesses wanting to be able to say goodbye to their loved ones and family members, and also their close friends, without the fear of not being themselves at the end of their life. Euthanasia would free patients from pain. All people have wanted to do for centuries is die with dignity and have the choice in the matter. Choosing to do assisted suicide can make doctors believe that the patient is depressed, and depression can lead to thoughts of suicide. Hicks states that studies that systematically assess depression in terminally ill patients do not show up that all requests for PAS, also known as physician-assisted suicide, arise from depression. But that isn't the case with all of the patients. Patients should be able to decide how their quality of life should be lived and should be able to decide themselves if they want to live the rest of their life in pain or just die peacefully. Another benefit that I read while researching euthanasia was that patients would get the chance to say goodbye to their families, and I think that also can lower depression. Patients have a right to resist further medical attention, and according to my research, SB Math said this: refusing care, right to refuse medical treatment is well recognized in law, including medical treatment that sustains or prolongs life. For example, a patient suffering from blood cancer can refuse treatment or deny feeds through nasogastric tube. Recognition of right to refuse treatment gives a way for passive euthanasia. So really, in one way or another, patients are finding out a way to die by their choice and not by a doctor's choice. Another thing is that having the option to choose your life would also minimize expensive, outstanding medical bills. It wouldn't just save money for the families, but it also saves money for the country. Not that that's important, but it also helps maintain stress with patients mentally. Most patients develop depression when it comes to the expensive medical bills, and they don't want their family to be paying them. And knowing that they could save them money would also help lower depression. Emanuel and Batten also estimated the cost savings if euthanasia was legalized. They said the medical costs in the last month of life for each patient who dies are $10,118. We estimated that legalizing physician-assisted suicide and euthanasia would save approximately $627 million in the 1995 dollars. This amount is less than 0.07% of total U.S. health expenditures. I hope that my audience was able to see some of the important views that I saw when legalizing euthanasia. It really would help patients have a right to how they want to die, and it would less people would be in pain, and it would definitely lower outstanding medical bills.